The galaxy had long known peace, quiet, measured, ordered. For countless millennia, the Eldest ruled as silent custodians of cosmic balance. Their presence was felt but rarely seen, like shadows drifting across the stars. Immortal, wise, and powerful beyond measure, they maintained the great equilibrium, watching younger civilizations rise and fall like flickers of candlelight. But now, a ripple disturbed the dark silence. In the remote depths of the Orpheus sector, far beyond even the Eldest's usual patrol routes, the ancient sensors detected an anomaly. The blue planet, teeming with life, was blossoming too rapidly. Data packets streaming from a forgotten relay station showed rapid technological advancements, an alarming pace of space exploration, and something more, a wild, unquantifiable energy that no recorded species had ever exhibited. The signal was chaotic, unpredictable, alive. The Eldest convened their Council of 10, gathering in the Hall of Echoes, a cavernous chamber carved from a meteorite older than most stars. Light shimmered along crystalline walls as the Eldest elders took their places, faces veiled behind masks of polished silver, their eyes reflecting aeons of knowledge. The species on Earth, the humans, intoned high elder verax, voice echoing like distant thunder. Their development defies our predictions. They have leaped from primitive stone tools to starflight in less than 200 years. Another elder, cloaked in midnight blue, replied, "It is their chaos we must fear." Other species sought order, unity through peace or submission. But these humans, they thrive on conflict, on change. They burn brightly, like a nova threatening to consume its own star system. The council murmured, the ancient weight of prophecy pressing upon them. One of the oldest texts, the Codex of Endings, spoke of a young fire that would rise in the galaxy's youth, a force that could shatter the Eldest's reign and unravel the very fabric of cosmic order. "Have the scouts reported on their capabilities?" asked Elder Nera, her voice cold and measured. Verax nodded gravely. "They have not only mastered interstellar travel that defy our probes. Attempts to engage have failed. Their tactics are erratic, unpredictable. They adapt, learn, and strike back with ferocity no species has shown." The chamber fell silent. From the shadows, a report crackled to life. An Eldest outpost in the Perseus Rift, Station A47, has gone silent. All transmissions ceased after a violent electromagnetic pulse of unknown origin. "Lost," someone whispered. "Survived," the scout's voice crackled back. "But not by choice. Human ships attacked with weapons unknown to us. They overwhelmed the defenses with a ferocity I have never seen. The few survivors speak of a force that refuses to die." The Eldest shifted uneasily. The story echoed their deepest fears. Humanity was not only resilient, they were unstoppable. High Elder Verax raised his hand, commanding silence. "We face a turning point. If this species is left unchecked, they may rewrite the laws that have governed this galaxy for eons. The Eldest must decide, do we contain this threat, or extinguish it before it burns everything we hold sacred?" Outside the Hall of Echoes, stars twinkled cold and distant, unaware that a storm was brewing. Somewhere on the blue planet, humans looked up at the same stars, unaware that their destiny was already entwined with ancient powers far beyond their reckoning. The void between stars was a silent battleground as the Eldest warship Azrael glided through the dark, its sleek hull gleaming with ancient technology. Inside the bridge, Commander Thelos peered at the glowing star maps, his eyes sharp despite centuries of service. His orders were clear. Intercept the strange human vessel detected near the Seriphus system and bring it in for questioning. The humans had already defied expectations by reaching interstellar space. Now they would learn why the Eldest tolerated no challengers. Across the void, the human exploration ship Valiant drifted among the asteroid belts. Its crew, ragtag yet fiercely determined, were far from home. Captain Alina Ward stood at the helm, jaw clenched, knowing that any encounter with the Eldest meant danger, yet her curiosity burned brighter than fear. Suddenly, the sensors beeped, a massive, unfamiliar warship emerging from the dark. The Azrael's voice crackled over the comms in a language ancient and chilling, demanding surrender. Alina exchanged a glance with her first officer. "We don't surrender. Prepare evasive maneuvers." The Azrael fired first, beams of blue energy lancing through the void. The Valiant shuddered under the blast, but its crew responded instantly. Using improvised tactics, they launched small drones that swarmed the Eldest ship's sensor arrays, scrambling communications. Alina's crew worked like a well-oiled machine, turning their ship's weaknesses into strengths. For every Eldest attack, the humans found a way to counter, turning enemy shields against them, hacking ancient systems with raw ingenuity. The Azrael faltered, unable to anticipate the unpredictable tactics of its foe. Commander Thello's eyes narrowed in disbelief. These humans, they fight like cornered predators, adapting with every move. In the chaos, the Valiant deployed a risky gambit, a decoy missile loaded with electromagnetic disruptors. The device detonated near the Azrael's main engines, crippling the ship's maneuverability. "Now, Captain," Alina ordered. With engines roaring, the Valiant slipped past the stunned Eldest vessel and raced toward the safety of a nearby nebula. On the bridge of the Azrael, alarms blared. Commander Thalos slammed his fist on the console. "Recall the fleet. Do not let them slip away." But the humans were already fading into the swirling clouds of cosmic dust, their ship disappearing like a ghost. Hours later, back in Eldest space, a message pulsed across encrypted channels. It was a human broadcast, clear and defiant. "You who watch us from shadows, listen well. We do not fear your age or your power. You call us reckless, but in your silence you forget. It is the fire of chaos that forges stars and civilizations alike. Underestimate us at your own peril." The council chambers of the Eldest erupted in murmurs and uneasy glances. Commander Thalos' words weighed heavily. These humans were not just another species to be subdued. They were a force wild and relentless, unpredictable in a way that terrified even the oldest among them. Deep within the shadows of their ancient strongholds, the Eldest began to prepare, not just to contain humanity, but to crush it. Yet somewhere, far from the cold stars, the humans celebrated their narrow escape, unaware that they had just ignited a war that would shake the very foundations of the galaxy. Across the vast stretches of Eldest space, intercepted transmissions began to reveal the fiery history of humanity. The Eldest pored over centuries of data, wars that scorched continents, plagues that decimated populations, revolutions that toppled empires. Humanity's past was a tapestry woven from destruction and rebirth, each catastrophe forging a new and stronger civilization from the ashes. To the Eldest, it was madness, a reckless race that seemed to thrive on chaos rather than avoid it. Unlike other species they had studied, humans did not seek harmony or surrender to fate. They fought with ferocity born of desperation and hope, pushing themselves beyond limits time and again. In the Council of 10, Elder Nerab broke the silence. "They are unlike any race we have encountered. Other civilizations sought peace, trade, or submission. Humans, they ignite wars that consume their own worlds, yet they rise stronger, more determined." High Elder Verax's gaze was cold but fascinated. It is as if their very souls are tempered in fire. They are chaos incarnate, and chaos defies control. Meanwhile, deep within human space, Captain Alina Ward studied a recently recovered Eldest weapon. A sleek, ominous device capable of disintegrating matter at a subatomic level. Her scientists worked tirelessly, reverse engineering its secrets. "This tech is centuries ahead," her chief engineer murmured. "If we harness it, we could protect ourselves, or become unstoppable." Alina's eyes hardened. "We need to learn their strengths and weaknesses. We can't fight their war with their weapons alone, but we can turn their arrogance against them." Back in Eldest territory, rumors spread of human ingenuity. On the planet Juno, where an Eldest outpost once stood, Humans constructed a formidable base powered by scavenged technology and their own relentless spirit. It was a beacon of defiance, radiating a message across the stars. Humanity was not just surviving. They were evolving. But this evolution came at a cost. Human worlds were scared by endless conflict. Families torn apart, cities rebuilt from rubble. Yet through every trial, the humans emerged more united, more ingenious. Their capacity to adapt and innovate in moments of desperation terrified Eldest scholars. An Eldest spy embedded within a human colony sent back a desperate message. They're building something, a weapon. It's unlike anything we've seen. If it is unleashed, it could end us all. The council reacted swiftly. Elder Nera's voice was sharp. We cannot allow such power to fall into their hands. We must strike, soon and decisively. But even as the Eldest planned their next move, whispers of a deeper mystery reached them. Humanity's chaotic rise wasn't just random chance. It was guided by something older, something buried deep in their DNA. High Elder Verax contemplated the implications in silence. The very fabric of the galaxy was shifting, and the Eldest were no longer its unchallenged masters. Far away, under a crimson sunset on Earth, Alina looked to the horizon and whispered, "They don't know what's coming, but neither do we." The Eldest had long guarded their greatest secrets, ancient technology so powerful they could remake stars or collapse entire systems. These forbidden machines lay dormant in vaults scattered across the galaxy, sealed away to prevent misuse by younger, reckless species. But humanity, in its relentless push forward, had discovered one such relic deep beneath the crust of a forgotten moon. The discovery sent shockwaves through human command. The device, a pulsating core surrounded by intricate alien circuitry, seemed to hum with a life of its own. An artifact from an age when the Eldest shaped galaxies with a thought. Captain Alina Ward stood before the core, her face illuminated by its eerie glow. If we can unlock even a fraction of its power, it will change everything. Her scientists labored day and night, weaving human ingenuity with alien technology. Slowly, they learned to interface with the machine, awakening dormant energies. The moon trembled as dormant systems flickered to life, and the device emitted pulses that resonated through space like a heartbeat. But the Eldest sensed the awakening. Far across the void, High Elder Verax's eyes narrowed as alerts flooded the council. The humans have breached the vaults. This is more than insurrection. It is an affront to cosmic order. Secret Eldest agents were dispatched in shadowy stealth ships to infiltrate human bases and retrieve or destroy the artifact. These operatives moved like ghosts, slipping through security nets and using ancient devices to cloak their presence. But humans were no longer naive prey. When one agent was captured on the human stronghold of Arcadia, they found themselves trapped in a web of deception. Alina's team fed false data back to Eldest Command, crafting elaborate disinformation campaigns to fracture the Eldest's unity. The captured agent, a veteran named Lorith, soon realized the humans were masters of chaos. "They do not fight like machines," he whispered in a secret transmission. "They think unpredictably. They weaponize their emotions. Anger, fear, hope, and it makes them dangerous beyond measure." Suddenly, an Eldest Elder was assassinated during a council meeting, killed by a mysterious device that emitted a silent, devastating pulse. Investigators traced the signature back to human origin. Panic rippled through the Eldest. The attack was a clear message. Humanity was no longer playing by the ancient rules. High Elder Verax slammed his staff against the chamber floor. "We have underestimated them for too long. If they wield this technology unchecked, it will spell the end of the Eldest era." The council voted unanimously. The Eldest would no longer hide behind diplomacy or observation. They would strike at humanity's heart. Back on the moon, as the humans prepared to unlock the final secrets of the device, alarms blared. Eldest warships emerged from warp, encircling the base like a tightening noose. Captain Alina stared at the stars, the weight of centuries pressing on her shoulders. This isn't just about survival anymore. This is a war for the soul of the galaxy. The ancient machine pulsed wildly, a beacon of raw power amid the chaos. In that moment, the fragile balance between old and new shattered, ushering the galaxy into a storm from which nothing would emerge unchanged. The Eldest strike fleet, known as the Silent Legion, was a terrifying force. Hundreds of warships, cloaked in shadow and armed with weapons designed to erase planets, surged toward the human stronghold on the Forsaken Moon. Their mission was clear: annihilate humanity's command and seize the forbidden machine before it could be fully activated. Commander Phelos stood on the bridge of the flagship Azrael, his gaze cold and resolute. This will be a swift victory. The humans will fall before the might of the Eldest. But the humans had prepared. Captain Elena Ward, anticipating the attack, had transformed the moon's desolate surface into a fortress. The ancient machine, now partially integrated with human technology, pulsed with raw energy, powering a web of defenses unlike anything the Eldest had faced. As the Silent Legion advanced, the moon's orbital defenses sprang to life. Energy shields flickered, and automated turrets unleashed torrents of fire. The Eldest ships faltered under the unexpected resistance. Elena's voice crackled over comms. "Hold the line. We fight for every inch. Remember why we stand: freedom, survival, the future." The battle erupted into chaos. Eldest warships fired colossal plasma beams, tearing through asteroids and sending debris hurtling toward human defenses. Yet the humans countered with relentless ferocity, exploiting every weakness in Eldest tactics. Using the forbidden machine's power, the humans unleashed electromagnetic pulses that crippled Eldest shields, turning their own weapons back on them. Fighter squads darted through the void, striking vulnerable points with deadly precision. Commander Phelos watched in disbelief as his fleet sustained massive losses. They adapt faster than we can anticipate. This is no ordinary foe. The Eldest flagship Azrael took a direct hit, systems flickering as explosions rocked its hull. Phelos barked orders, rallying his officers to repair and retaliate. But the tide was turning. On the moon's surface, Elena coordinated with her commanders, directing energy surges from the ancient device to repel boarding attempts and disable Eldest weaponry. We're not just defending. We're fighting to break their hold on this galaxy. Hours into the battle, the Silent Legion's fleet was decimated. Ships fled in disarray, battered and broken. The Eldest had suffered a crushing defeat, one that reverberated through their halls of power. Back in the Eldest Council, the mood was grim. High Elder Verax's voice was low but firm. This war has entered a new phase. Humanity will no longer be contained. We must prepare for a long, brutal conflict. Meanwhile, the humans celebrated their hard-won victory, but the cost was clear. Many brave souls had fallen, their sacrifices etched into the scars on the moon's surface. Elena stared at the stars beyond, knowing this was only the beginning. They think they've seen our limits. They've only awakened our true potential. A final message echoed through Eldest space, a broadcast from the heart of humanity, bold and unyielding. This war has just begun. The aftermath of the Silent Legion's defeat sent ripples throughout the galaxy. The Eldest, once proud and unchallenged rulers, now faced an enemy they could neither predict nor control. In the shadows of their ancient halls, the Eldest scholars scrambled to understand humanity's secret, a force beyond technology or sheer will. High Elder Verax summoned his most trusted seer, Elder Kale, whose visions pierced through time and emotion. "What drives these humans?" Verax demanded. "Why do they fight with such ferocity? What makes them so unbreakable?" Kale's eyes clouded as he spoke. It is not just their minds or machines, but their hearts. Their emotions, love, hope, rage, ignite a fire that no cold calculation can extinguish. It is chaos, yes, but also unity born of empathy. They connect, not just as individuals, but as a force greater than the sum of their parts. Meanwhile, across human space, Captain Alina Ward worked tirelessly to forge alliances with alien species who had long suffered under Eldest domination. The humans' willingness to embrace diversity and difference, to fight not for conquest, but for freedom, attracted disparate factions. On the desert world of Zathura, tribal leaders who once viewed humans with suspicion now stood shoulder to shoulder with Alina, pledging warriors and technology. "Your spirit reminds us of our own fight," said Zathuran chieftain Merrick. "Together, we can break the chains." Even some Eldest began to question their ancient order. A rogue faction, led by the enigmatic Elder Therian, approached the human coalition covertly. "The Eldest's reign is dying," Therian whispered. "Join us and help build a new future." But such alliances were fragile, forged in uncertainty and the shadow of war. Trust was a rare currency, and betrayal lurked beneath every handshake. Back on Earth, Alina convened a council of species: humans, Zotherans, Therian's Eldest defectors, and others. Around a holographic star map, plans were drawn to strike back at Eldest strongholds and free enslaved worlds. "Our strength is not in a single weapon or fleet," Alina said, voice steady. "It's in our willingness to fight together, fueled by something the Eldest cannot understand: the heart." Yet even as the coalition prepared, the Eldest launched a counterattack on a remote human outpost. The battle was fierce, but the united front held strong, proving that humanity's emotional fire was contagious. Elder Kale watched the conflict unfold from afar. "The storm has begun," he murmured, "and in its eye lies a force the galaxy has never seen." The Eldest, ancient and calculating, were no longer the sole masters of fate. Humanity's unpredictable spirit, its capacity for hope and rage, love and defiance, had become a weapon sharper than any blade. As stars burned bright against the void, a new chapter in galactic history was written, not in cold logic or ancient decree, but in the wild, unyielding heart of a species that refused to be tamed. The galaxy was alight with whispers, rebellions sparked by the human flame. Worlds long shackled under Eldest rule began to rise, their chains shattered by the promise of freedom. The coalition's victories were small but resonant, sending shockwaves through the vast cosmic order. Captain Alina Ward stood at the helm of the newly christened flagship Unity, a symbol of the fragile alliance between species. The ship was both a war vessel and a beacon of hope, built with parts scavenged from countless worlds and powered by human ingenuity and Eldest relics. "Prepare for jump to the core worlds," Alina commanded. "This is where the Eldest's heart beats strongest, and where we will strike." Across the galaxy, the Eldest Council was fraying under pressure. Internal dissent grew as some elders pushed for peace talks, fearing total collapse, while others called for total war. High Elder Verax, once unshakable, now wore the heavy mantle of doubt. "If we fall, what will remain of the order we forged? What will become of the balance we upheld?" But the rising tide of rebellion could not be stemmed. On a distant mining colony, once a backwater outpost, a spark of resistance flared into a full uprising. Human soldiers, alongside defected Eldest warriors and alien insurgents, overran the Eldest garrison with daring tactics. The rebellion was swift and brutal. Eldest forces, trained to command obedience, were unprepared for the humans' chaotic battle cries and unrelenting spirit. Every victory inspired another, and the chain reaction spread like wildfire. Amid the turmoil, Alina received a secret message from Elder Therian, the rogue Eldest. "There is a weakness in the core world defenses, an ancient flaw hidden beneath layers of illusion. Exploit it, and the Eldest will crumble." The fleet adjusted course, heading into the heart of the Eldest Empire. But the path was perilous. Eldest warships prowled the space lanes, and ancient defense arrays awakened with deadly precision. As the Coalition fleet entered the core world system, alarms blared. The Eldest had anticipated their move. A massive battle ensued. Stars exploded, ships twisted in fiery death spirals, and the void echoed with the clash of ancient power and human defiance. During the chaos, Alina led a daring boarding party onto the Eldest command ship. Inside the labyrinthine corridors, every step was a gamble. Traps, illusions, and echoes of centuries past awaited. Yet, driven by determination and the hope of billions, the boarding party pressed on, dismantling command systems and sowing chaos from within. Back on the Unity, the battle raged. Allied ships held the line, buying time for Alina's team to complete their mission. As the Eldest command ship faltered, a voice boomed through the fleet, High Elder Verax himself, issuing a dire warning. "You may shatter our ships, but you cannot extinguish the ancient order. We are eternal. The galaxy's balance demands it." Alina's response was clear, broadcast across the stars. "The order you cling to protect is the cage we are breaking. Your time is over." In that moment, the galaxy trembled, not from the might of weapons, but from the echoing roar of rebellion. The Eldest command ship's corridors, once silent and imposing, now echoed with the determined footsteps of Captain Alina Ward and her boarding party. They had fought through traps and illusions, ancient guardians of a dying order, and now stood at the threshold of the central core, the heart of Eldest power. Alina's fingers danced over the control panel, overriding systems with a blend of human intuition and stolen Eldest technology. The core pulsed, its energy waning as ancient defenses fell silent. Outside, the Coalition fleet tightened their grip on the battlefield, breaking the last of the Eldest warships. Back in the Council of 10, High Elder Verax watched the battle unravel with a weary gaze. "Perhaps this is the reckoning we have long feared," he murmured, his voice heavy with centuries of regret. "The galaxy changes, and we must change with it, or be consumed by the fire of the new." As the command ship's power faded, so too did the Eldest's unyielding grip on the galaxy. Worlds once cloaked in shadow began to breathe freely, their populations rising from oppression into a new dawn of possibility. Alina stood on the bridge of Unity, gazing out at the vast starfield. The war had tested humanity and its allies in unimaginable ways, but they had prevailed, not just through weapons or tactics, but through unbreakable spirit and unity. The ancient race's greatest fear had been realized. A species born of chaos and hope had ignited a revolution that no force could contain. Humanity's fire was not just survival, it was transformation. Messages poured in from liberated worlds, each one a testament to the power of rebellion and the promise of freedom. The Coalition was fragile, but it was growing stronger, diverse species united by a single vision. Elder Therian, once a voice of dissent within the Eldest, now stood beside Alina. "The old ways cannot endure," he said, "but neither can we erase what came before. The future lies in balance, a balance forged by many, not one." Alina nodded. "Then let us build it together. A galaxy where no one rules from the shadows, where every voice is heard." As the sun rose over Earth's horizon, a new era began, one shaped by fire and hope, rebellion and unity. The Eldest would become legends, not masters. Their ancient order a memory, a lesson. And humanity, the unexpected spark in the cosmic darkness, would carry the light forward, fearless, unyielding, and forever free.